Let's get after it. 0731168045 is our WhatsApp number. Send us your thoughts as to what's happening in the world of sport. That number again, 0731168045. The first story in our local sports news roundup is about stadiums, a home for the Warriors, where, according to sources, ZiFM have secured Orlando Stadium as the venue for the Warriors 2021 AFCON qualifier against the Desert Foxes of Algeria, while the association continues to sell the nation a dummy that they are battling to have the match played in Zimbabwe. Sources in South Africa say that ZiFM Chief Executive Joseph Mamutse yesterday sealed a contract with his South African Football Association counterparts for the match to be held at Orlando Stadium in Soweto. This is all the while when ZiFM continues to communicate that they are working feverishly to make sure that the game is played locally. What are we to believe, Alois?
It's tricky. Yeah, it's tricky. I think you can actually tell from the lack of action from the Zimbabwe Football Association. Like there's no communication. Everything was like hide and seek and all that. You could actually feel, that kind of thing. We could feel that they know something. They know they've got this. Right. We've got this. So they were so comfortable and confident. I think they just wanted the renovations to keep going.
Okay.
To keep on going, but they definitely knew that CAF was not going back to come here and reinspect this. But I don't know how it's going to work out. But what I know is this stadium was not booked yesterday.
Right.
It was not booked 2 days ago. It has been booked for a while now. The provisional booking was done probably over a week ago.
And Mike, it would need to be, wouldn't it? Because we would need to communicate to our opponent and also make sure that we have a venue just in case if this so-called re-inspection is going to happen and goes badly, we actually have a venue to play the match. ZiFM's communication right now is in shambles.
Listen, I think we were just desperate for good news.
Yeah.
And therefore, there are certain individuals that played on that, just keeping the nation hanging, believing that something is going to happen, whilst in reality, nothing was ever going to happen. Now, if you had spoken to me 2 weeks ago, I'd have told you that Zimbabwe is going to have to play the qualifier versus Algeria outside of Zimbabwe, because there are certain laws, certain rules, certain stipulations, certain regulations that CAF is never ever going to bend, because they set a very bad precedent. This is not a case that is unique to Zimbabwe. Just yesterday, you had the likes of Daniel Amokachi leading a CAF in stadiums inspection team in Uganda as well, just checking that their stadiums, their facilities are up to scratch. So they make a bad call on Zimbabwe. All of a sudden, there's a precedent that is set for the 52 nations of Africa, and CAF cannot afford that. So they're never going to flout their own rules and regulations just to please Zimbabwean football. So this match was always going to be played outside of Zimbabwe, and I think it was irresponsible for those at ZiFM and certain sections of the media, in truth, that had Zimbabwean fans believing that there was hope around the corner.
Yeah, it was really bad, because we kept on talking about it. How can we have an inspection a week before the match? No. It's not going to happen, because Algeria needs to prepare. What if they want to come 10 days before the match?
There's a 30-day deadline where we are supposed to communicate our match venue 30 days ahead of the event.
Match.
But why?
Yes, even Algeria, in terms of planning their logistics, knowing exactly where they're going to be playing, how they're traveling, when they're traveling, the advanced team, which hotels they're going to be using, which training facilities they're going to be using. All that has got to be done whilst there's due time. That's why they say 30 days. It allows your opposing team to be able to plan and to plan properly. And you and I, Barry, of course, were in the know. The Algerian team, when they come to Zimbabwe, they were always going to use Harare International School because it is secure, and because the local scouting parties have no access to that particular facilities. Now, once they cancelled the booking for Harare International School and the arrangements that they had made, it was pretty obvious they were not going to be coming to Harare.
The match wasn't going to take place here. One of the happy coincidences, Paz, that has resulted from this is the fact that now our stadiums are getting a spruce up finally.
Yeah, suddenly everyone's jumping around.
And perhaps,
what do you call a spruce up? Is it the guys that you've got on brooms sweeping the grass at the National Sports Stadium? That's not a spruce up.
I
That's
saw
a
that
clean up.
picture.
For me,
I
a
was-
spruce up is bucket seats. That's proper.
Now, if we're talking about bucket seats, if we're talking about the changing rooms being with fitted benches, fitted chairs, fitted cupboards, the office for the coach, the office for the technical team, for the medical team, in what CAF requires, then if that's the spruce up they are doing right now at the sports stadium, oh, well done.
That's not the spruce up
not
they're
the
doing.
sweeping of grass that Mike is talking about.
Well, the bathrooms seem to be sorted out. However, the Ministry of Sports has also weighed in, and they've seemed to sort of take a front row seat in all of these. And when we caught up with the Sports Minister, Honourable Kirsty Coventry, recently, she said she will keep pressure on to make sure the stadiums are refurbished.
I went and visited the stadiums this morning, and I was very happy to see that stakeholders have come together. You guys know they don't fall under my ministry, but it's been good to get everyone together and work together towards a common goal of getting them uplifted. So we're positive right now, and I think that's how we have to remain. Got to take a situation that wasn't the best and turn it into something that's good for us, and it has been good. It's been a good opportunity to get everyone on the same page, working towards the same goal. And so far the work that I've seen over the week has been very good. So we're going to keep the pressure on. I'll allow for you guys to help me keep that pressure on and to make sure that we get things done. But right now I'm very thankful for all of the stakeholders, for local government stepping up, to Honourable July Moyle, to the President for being very supportive and pushing to get the money released in time for us to start the work. So it's been all hands on deck from everybody, which is good to see.
Well, as of this morning, the ownership of the stadium has actually changed hands. The Ministry of Youth, Sports, Art and Recreation has taken over ownership of the National Sports Stadium. The stadium, built in 1987, has been owned by the local government, Public Works and National Housing Ministry from that time. And Honourable Kirsty Coventry confirmed the same on her Twitter handle this morning, saying it has been agreed that ownership and operations of the National Sports Stadium in Zimbabwe will be transferred to the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Art and Recreation. We have the experience and the passion to use this opportunity for Zimbabwe to become a sporting powerhouse. So it's now owned by the Sports Ministry, which you got to say probably is the right thing to do. Your thoughts on this, Pos?
Yes, I think it's a good move, but now it's to get in place all the other bits that go with it. To make sure, one, the maintenance of the stadium is done. Basically, look at the stadiums in South Africa and say, well, if these are managed properly, we need to manage ours properly. So I think it's a good move. I think under the watchful eye of that ministry, but they're going to have to put in place all the correct measures to ensure that they make the correct that they make the correct revenue. They put in the right facilities, turnstiles, bucket seats, whatever the requirements are.
Make it an international world-class facility.
Make it an international world-class facility. And you know what? Even if you have to sell naming rights to the stadium, so be it. It's going to generate money that's going to help. Sure. The refurbishment.
But Mike, your thoughts? You happy?
Yeah, I am happy if there's a plan. It's one thing transferring ownership and responsibility. It's another thing having a plan to say, okay, now that we've got the National Sports Stadium, what are we going to do with it? I have a few suggestions. One, I think that may be controversial, but the first thing I would do, rip out that athletics track at the National Sports Stadium.
Okay.
Have the athletics track moved out to the B Arena, turn the B Arena into a 5,000-seater athletics facility. We are never going to be hosting a major athletics event in Zimbabwe anytime soon.
Yeah.
And you're never going to be having 50,000 athletics fans at the National Sports Stadium. The National Sports Stadium, the surface, is actually quite large to be able to play cricket in.
Sure.
Okay? So turn that into a multi-use facility. All of a sudden, you can play day-night cricket in there. All of a sudden, you can play rugby in that particular facility. And then it becomes truly a national sports stadium, okay?
Yeah.
Renovate the whole place, put bucket seats. I know it's going to bring the seating down a bit from the 60,000 to about 50,000.
Yeah.
But that is a good number.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's still a good number.
Gomba
It's manageable for our country.
But remember, the bottom side, the bottom side, the bottom
Yes.
place is also more seats as well.
more
when they
seats
go
as
down.
well. Then all of a sudden, you now have the capacity to hold a lot more events that will be able to attract a lot of partners and investment, Barry, rather than national sport. That National Sports Stadium was a marvel in the 80s.
It was, yeah.
It no longer is 40 years on.
It's
No.
a relic. It's a relic. I chaps have a slight struggle with this because I'm asking, where's the money going to come from?
That's why I say, do they have a plan?
Yeah, the Ministry of Local Government, Public Works and National Housing has money to do renovations like they were doing.
Do they,
Ministry
Barry?
of
Because
Sport
if they
did
had
not-
the money, they would have done the renovation.
Ministry of Sport does not have the vote in the budget to do the renovations that are required at this facility.
Is perhaps Kirsty not
so-
looking at external investment?
Perhaps.
Because surely
Maybe.
she's got the partnerships and the relationships. I'd like to think that she may be able to get a few people on board. That's if, Barry, that's if government is willing to let go. You and I had a discussion around this in terms of control, retaining control around facilities. I think you've got to reach a point where you say, okay, you know what? We need guys to partner with, guys who will be able to invest, to rehabilitate these facilities and get them up to scratch. But then we lose control. And what we retain is perhaps shareholding in an enterprise that is now perhaps semi-private in nature.
My belief is, and will always be, that government should be a facilitator, not an operator.